Do you want to dominate Robo Rumble like a boss, killing lots of robots and getting lots of tokens? Well, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Let's get into it. Alright, for this Robo Rumble guide, I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about Robo Rumble, exactly how it works, the different robots, all about the bosses, the best brawlers for Robo Rumble, the best teams for Robo Rumble, how to play them, and then of course I'll show a little bit live as well so you can see it in the moment, exactly how it goes. Now, first of all, in Robo Rumble, a couple things you got to know, just the general basics. First of all, it starts out with one robot in the first wave, and then it increases by one robot every 2 waves until you get to a boss wave, and that's the big angry robot boss that fires out rockets. Now, every 12 seconds a new wave spawns, and they spawn in the corners of the map randomly. Basically, usually they tend to split them up, one robot in a different corner. You might, as you get to a lot of robots, end up with a couple robots. Now, once you get to a boss wave, it resets. So maybe it was at like 4 robots or 5 robots before you got to that boss wave. After that boss wave, it's going to go back down to 1 robot. The other thing to know is boss waves last 22 seconds. So you have a little bit longer than the normal waves to go ahead and kill that boss. But it can be difficult because that boss might be kind of far away, so not only do you have to kill the boss, but you got to take 5 to whatever seconds to go ahead and walk over to the boss just to kill them. Now also, after every boss wave, every robot increases in health and in damage. There's 3 types of robots besides the boss robots. There's the very high health boxer melee robots that are really slow, normal speed I guess you could say, and medium damage but super high health. There's the mouse robots, I like to call them, really fast, medium health robots with decent amount of damage. And then there's the shooter robots that are really low health but also really high damage. They fire out lasers. Those ones are going to be probably the most difficult to deal with, as you have to deal with all the other robots that are in front of you first sometimes before you go ahead and are able to deal with those long-range robots that deal a lot of damage. It can also be a little bit difficult to dodge as well. Now, there are only 3 bosses, so after that 3rd boss, the robots will no longer reset. They'll just keep on increasing every 2 waves. Just keep on getting harder and harder and harder. Now, if you're wondering how much time you need to get the maximum amount of tokens, it's going to be 6 minutes and 15 seconds. So you got to get 6 minutes, 15 seconds, and then you will be able to get 32 tokens, which is the max. And in this current Robo Rumble, it's pretty difficult. As well, the map stays the same every single time. Old Robo Rumble used to change every single time. Also, the walls are destructible, so that boss robot, he fires those rockets, those walls will go down. Now, some other general tips before I go ahead and talk about the best brawlers and the best teams when you're facing that angry robot boss. First of all, you want to try and save your super for that boss. Whatever brawler you are, try and save your super for it and then use it on the boss. Even if you're a turret user, save your turret for that boss. If you can go ahead and use it before the boss and get it back by the time you're facing the boss, that's fine too. Or of course later in the waves, you're gonna probably want to just use them to stay alive as well. But first that boss, you want to try and use all your supers as much as possible. It's very important you kill it as quickly as possible, because if you get to the part where you have the boss up and other robots are spawning and attacking you at the same time, you are very, very likely to get overwhelmed, and you probably will lose shortly thereafter unless that robot boss is just almost dead. But otherwise, save your supers for that boss. Another thing is try and turn that boss away from your safe. He fires those rockets that break down your walls. A lot of times those walls you want to keep up. They're going to protect you, not allow those shooter robots to shoot you, as it makes them take longer to be able to shoot you. So you want to keep those walls up. They're going to help you out. So face that boss, turn him around. Another thing versus the boss is take turns getting close to the boss. Now, at the first time he sees you, as soon as he sees you, he's going to start firing those rockets. So make sure you're avoiding those rockets. And then if you have some high health brawlers on your team, like you go in, attack the boss, you get low health, and then start running away. Heal up. When you verse that boss, if you're low on ammo, heal up all the way. Like, wait until you're full on ammo to start attacking again. You want to try and heal up whenever you get the chance. Also, if you're having multiple people with high health on your team, switch off, like who is closest to that boss, so that way you know, you have the person who has high health is the person who's going to be targeted by the robot, and your low health teammates can heal up. Now, the main other tip I would give is you want to try and meet these robots as soon as possible. So you want to sort of be spread out, but you also want to help each other out because you do want to kill them as quick as possible. And sometimes when it's just solo, it might be difficult, but early on it'll be pretty easy. As you get later in the waves, you're going to have to start double teaming and maybe even triple teaming robots. Once you get past that third boss, you're probably just going to be stuck by the safe because those robots have so much health. It's going to take you so long to kill them, and you're just going to all have to work together to kill the robots. But also you want to try and meet them out as far up on the map as possible. If you're able to do that, you know, the sooner you start damaging those robots, the sooner you're going to be able to kill them, and then you're going to be less likely to be overwhelmed. Now let's talk about what brawlers to use. The best brawlers for Robo Rumble. Now here's the other thing I'll say, is Robo Rumble is not a great mode to play with randoms. Team coordination is definitely pretty important. Also, team composition is going to be really, really important in Robo Rumble. So go ahead, try it out with randoms, but I would really recommend try and find a team. Join a band. You know, get a bigger friends list, go on Reddit. There's a bunch of different places you can go. Maybe go in the comments if you're looking for a team to play with. But seriously, definitely play with a team. It's going to be pretty difficult with randoms, but hey, you're welcome, of course, go ahead and try. Now, there's two brawlers that I think are needed for a really good time in Robo Rumble. I'm welcome to be proved wrong, but for the moment, in the current stage of Robo Rumble, you really need Pam and you really need Jessie. Pam is definitely the best brawler in Robo Rumble right now. Very high health, does a lot of damage if you're hitting all her shots, and it's pretty easy to do that in Robo Rumble because there's two melee robots and you're going to be able to kill them fairly easily with Pam. Also, that healing turret is so clutch. A lot of times in Robo Rumble, you're just going to be constantly shooting in the later waves and you're not going to have time to heal up. So that healing turret is going to really allow you to do it. Also, just going to allow you to take so much more damage, and it's going to be constantly healing 3 people a lot of the time, and it's so good. So Pam, very clutch. You want to place that turret typically just right on top of the safe, that way, because you never know what direction robots are going to be coming from, so that's the most central place. So you just go ahead and place that there. You can place it versus the boss. You're probably not going to get it all the way back, but it's definitely a good thing to do just to make sure no one is dying. If someone's dying versus that third boss, you're going to be in a really tough situation, and you're probably not going to get max keys or max tokens. You still can, but it's going to be difficult. Now, Jessie is the other brawler I really recommend. Jessie's turret, again, you place it right on the safe in a central location, and it's going to be really good because it's a lot of times going to be always useful because robots are always going to be coming in no matter what. And also, you can sort of get a lot of bounce shots later in the wave. Jessie's not going to be super strong the first 4 minutes maybe, but after that, Jessie tends to be really strong. You can also go ahead. The other thing to note with Jessie is you have to make sure you're using her turret versus the angry boss. If you are not using her turret versus the boss, you are going to struggle, and it's going to take you a long time to kill that boss, probably, because otherwise Jessie's fairly low damage versus that boss. If you don't have that turret up, so make sure you have the turret up. You have her star power, make sure to use it. If you don't have her star power, place it a little bit far back so that boss is not going to be targeting it. If you have it, you can go ahead and place it somewhat close, and then if the boss is targeting it, make sure you're using your star power, and if you think it's going to die, try and get in front of the boss and make sure it's not going to be targeting the turret. It's going to be targeting a person instead. One other really good thing with Jessie is after a wave is clear and you have her star power, go ahead and use that star power on her turret and see where the next robot is going to be coming from. The next closest robot. Then you can go ahead and meet that robot as close as possible. It's really good with Jessie. You're going to see me doing that in the gameplay some. If once the wave is clear, just go ahead and shoot that turret, and it's going to tell you where the next closest robot is. Then you just go start walking in that direction, and you can start shooting it sooner than you might have earlier. Now, those are definitely the 2 best brawlers in Robo Rumble. The third one can vary a little bit. I think to me there's 4 or 5 really good options, and I would recommend you use one of these. It would be El Primo, Frank, Ricochet, Colt, or Bull. Now, you're going to see us use Bull. We found the most success with Bull, but it seems like a lot of people have found varying success with any of these brawlers able to get a really good time. All of these brawlers are going to be definitely a good option. El Primo, very high health, very tanky. He can hit multiple robots at the same time. You want to use those walls. Make sure to let those robots get close to you, especially the shooter ones, before you start engaging them. Of course, if it's a melee, you can just engage them as soon as possible. Frank is going to be really key. He can hit multiple robots. He's not going to be great versus those super fast melee robots, the melee robots where they're just in his face, because he's going to be taking damage all the time versus those. But he can hit multiple robots, and he can stun them as well. You want to be careful using that stun early on. You want to break down those walls too soon, but once you get past 4 minutes, go ahead and just use that stun. If you're able to hit 2+ robots and you're in a dire situation, you're going to break down those walls, but it's going to be worth it because you want us to stay alive as long as possible. Of course, always stun the boss as well. Bull, a really good option. Make sure you're really using those walls, letting those robots get as close as possible. And of course, make sure you're standing in that Pam turret as much as possible too, because as a tank, you're going to be taking a ton of damage. But you also, you know, have a lot of health, and you can also deal a lot of damage at close range. If you have a star power, try and be borderline below 40% health if you can, and you're going to be dealing a ton of damage, and then it's going to be really, really good. But it's a little bit risky. The other thing with Bull, you really do not want to use his super. It's almost never worth it. Almost never. The only time is if there's like one shooter robot and it's, you know, a full Bull super away. You can go ahead and maybe super that if it's not breaking any important walls. But even then, you're usually taking like at least 2 shots just using that super. So, but like before you're even able to shoot that robot, so it's usually almost never worth it, even versus the boss. So honestly, Bull Super almost never worth it. Do not use it. El Primo Super you can use. Just go ahead and disrupt robots. Don't use it to get close to them. I mean, you can because you're invincible while you're in the air, so it's not as bad as Bull's, but it's still not the best. Now, Colt and Ricochet I found a little bit more inconsistent. They're more high damage, but they're going to be more likely to die because, of course, they're really low health. But they are going to be better versus those long-range bots because they have the range, so they can engage them earlier. But when you get starting to the really high waves, they start getting 2-shot, basically, from those really long-range shooter robots, so that can be really difficult, especially if you end up getting unlucky, and there's a lot of shooter robots. They're probably going to struggle. But they're very high damage, so you could end up getting a situation where maybe you break down a lot of walls, and then you can start engaging them sooner, and you have more space to dodge, and then they're going to be really good. They're also going to be really good versus the boss, because they have super high damage, and they have that really long range, so they're not going to be taking much damage versus the boss. If you have those guys on your team, if you're struggling with the boss, those might be good brawlers to pick. Alright, now let's show you how it's done live. Okay, here we are. We're at 4 minutes. Now we got the last boss. Okay, so now it's going to be a little bit difficult. So now, a lot of times you're not able to kill this other robot right in terms of... Oh, this is like not really where I want to be. Okay, my turn might go down really fast here. Let's see how this goes. Well, this is a good time. Make sure you use all your supers here. You want to go all in here. Now our Pam is taking a lot of damage. Our Bull is... I think we're doing pretty well, actually. Really well. That went really well. Couldn't have gone much better. So let's go ahead and see what we can find with the next robot is. Just there's a robot over here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring it to my teammate. And okay, put my turret down. These guys have so much health. Try to see if we can get that Jesse bounce, some extra damage. Now these long range guys are definitely the most dangerous, so we got to deal with those as quickly as possible. But really, we're just trying to kill everything as quickly as possible. Find the next one over here. Okay, trying to team kill them as well too. I'm also every single time I'm trying to look for any opportunity to get a Jesse bounce in. Because that's going to give me, I mean, as much as if I can get as much damage as possible, raise my damage per second. That's ideal. It's always the goal. Okay. So sometimes, like, if I'm not fully reloaded, I might save my shots and wait, see if I can get enemies to be a little bit closer together before I start shooting. Also, though I do want to target those long-range ones, as they're definitely the most annoying. Most hard to deal with. I'm going to heal my turret up here, but it's not a big deal if I healed up or not. Is that one? No, that's just 2. Okay. So we're just going to go for this. Okay, now we'll go for... Now this is getting really difficult. Hopefully none of my teammates die here. My turret might go down here. Oh, this is a big trouble situation. Gonna have to go forward. Nope, not able to get it. Not quite going to get max time. Really close. 6-10, just 5 seconds off. So we're only going to get 31 tokens, but still not too bad. Curious how the other ticketed event works? Big game? Go ahead and check out that video over there where I show you the 5 best brawlers for that mode. It's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.